Everyone. Thanks for joining me. Um, we're going to begin in a moment. We're going to start in a seat for this class. So maybe sit on a nice cushy folded blanket or a cushion if you want a little more support. Another good prop, pretty much always have on hand is a yoga block. If you have one, a foam or cork or wood block, it's always a good idea to keep it within reach. Never know when you might need it, though we won't need it right now. So the class that you've joined is on building upper body strength and using our own body weight as resistance, not using hand weights or machines at the gym to build body strength. Lots of ways to do that. And the upper body strength is important for exercise, whether you run or swim or hike or walk, bike, it all comes into being. The bodies, upper and lower body, mid body, work together as a unit. So when one joint in the body is moved, the shoulder, the knee, the hip, it kind of begins to create this chain reaction throughout the rest of the body. So if you have one weak link in that chain, then you're going to lose some energy that would otherwise have been used to move you forward. So if the upper body is weak and you're relying solely on the lower body, then again, you're just kind of expending somewhat needless energy. And the arms and the shoulders, the chest, the upper back, which we're going to work on in this class, are part of what we call that kinetic chain. For example, if you drive your arms while you're running, especially if you're sprinting or going uphill, it helps to add power to your gait, to your running form. The faster you run, the more upper body, arm, and shoulder strength plays into helping. All right, that's a little overview of what we're going to do. So again, find a seat, and we're going to begin with just some really easy shoulder opening poses, arm opening poses. So I'd like you to bring the arms out to what I call a T, or kind of right out from the shoulders. Have the palms face down in a neutral position to begin. Have a little bend in the elbows. Sit up tall. And we're going to begin, let's just do 2 rounds of what we call external and internal rotation of the shoulders, kind of, and you'll see the difference. I just kind of want you to experience the difference. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to start to spin the thumbs up towards the ceiling, and you're going to keep going, rotating the arms until ideally the palms and the inner elbow creases face up and maybe go even a little backwards. So this is externally rotating the shoulders. So you should feel how open it feels across the chest and the upper back, really broad, really open. And then you're going to go the other way. So first come back to where we started, to that neutral spot. Now you're going to start to turn the thumbs down towards the ground. And as you do, the shoulders are going to kind of roll in a little, and you're going to kind of hunch the shoulders up. This is internally rotating the shoulders. We don't do that very often because you'll find it kind of closes everything off. There are particular yoga poses where we do that, but it's rare. Mostly we're striving for that external rotation. Let's experience that one more time. So start again, that neutral spot. Slowly begin to spin the thumbs back. Palms open up, maybe inner elbow creases. Maybe go back a little more and really feel how broad and open that is. And then just to illustrate the difference, go the other way. Hands down, spin the thumbs down to internally rotate the shoulders. All right, let that go. Maybe give the shoulders a couple little rolls. We'll do that more when we stand in a few minutes. For now, let's stretch out the triceps. Take the right arm up to the sky by the ear, and you're going to bend the elbow. You're going to let those right fingers kind of tap the upper back. You're going to take the left hand and hold on to the right elbow here. Yes, give it a little squeeze. So you should feel a nice stretch in the tricep here. Stay here for just another breath. And then let that go and take the other side. Take the left arm long by the ear. Bend the arm, let the fingers tap upper back. Take the right hand, and you're going to cup that left elbow and take 2 breaths here to stretch out that left tricep. Should feel good. Stay for another breath. All right, and let that go. Come out of your seat. If you were sitting on a blanket or cushion, you can move it to the side for now. We'll come back to some seated poses later in class. For now, have the hands kind of into tabletop, all fours, hands and knees. So set this up first, have the hands about shoulder distance. Spread through the fingers, have a little soft bend in the elbows. The hips are right over the knees and the feet are flat, or you can tuck the toes here. You're going to round the spine, tuck in chin to chest, hollow out the belly for cat pose. And then exhale, go the other way. Open up, gaze forward, broaden across the heart. Stick the butt up towards the ceiling for cow. And we're going to go back and forth this way a few times. So this is the purpose of this cat-cow. Usually do this early in practice, is to really warm up the spine, the whole spine, the neck, the upper back, the low back, the sacral area. It's just a nice kind of mellow, really accessible movement here. Think about 2 more, being slow here, opening up. And then just find 1 more time, round in, maybe lift a little higher, curl in a little tighter. And then last time for now for that cow, and feel that broadening across the chest. All right, from here, you're going to come to a neutral position in your tabletop. So kind of gaze right between the hands. Let's take the right leg long to the back of the mat. So first you're going to tuck the toes, be on the ball of the foot, push back a little through the heel. Keep the right hand on the mat. You're going to take the left arm long by the ear. So it's opposite arm and leg. And you're going to float the right toes up now. So pause here a moment. Keep the foot flexed so the toes point down. And here you're finding a little inner rotation of the right inner thigh. Now, you're going to bend that left elbow out to the side, right in line with the shoulder, and bend the elbow. And you're going to do the same thing with the right knee, with the right leg. You're going to bend the knee off to the side. So now we're going lateral. And then you're going to come back to reach the arm and leg forward. And then exhale, bend them again, come out to the side. 2 more. Reach long, left arm by ear, right leg reaches straight back. And then exhale, bend the elbow, bend the knee, that's the hip. 1 more, reach really long. Exhale, bend. And then come back down onto all fours, hands and knees. Let's set up for side 2. Take the left leg long back of the mat. So first you kind of tuck the toes, get a little stretch, leg in the leg. I mean, it's about the upper body today, but we're going to work the lower body too. First, sweep the right arm long by the ear, reach out long through the fingers. And then first float the left toes up. So it's not lifting high, kind of hovering, but you really want to have a nice flexion of that foot to engage that left leg. And now we go lateral. Start with the arm, bend the right arm out to the side, and then bring that left knee and hip to the side. So it's like a little fire hydrant pose. And then come back to where we started, reach long. Exhale, bend. 2 more. Arm and leg extend long. And then exhale, they bend to the side. 1 more time, working on a little mobility here with that shoulder and the hip. And then last time you bend. And now you come back to all fours. Tuck the toes, kind of walk the feet back a little further to the back of your mat. You're going to start to sink the hips back towards the heels. At the same time, you're going to curl the fingers forward and come on to the tips of the fingers, the pads of the fingers. Gaze forward between the hands to really open up the chest. And then you're going to start to bow down towards the mat into a pose we call child's pose. So it's a resting pose, but here we're being a little more active right now. Okay, especially in the upper body. So you can continue, of course, warm up that lower body, stretch the sit bones back towards the heels, keep the toes tucked to elevate the heels more. So you really want to focus here, stretching out the shoulders and the upper back and dropping. Maybe you can drop the forehead down all the way to the mat or get close. Let's just take 1 more breath here in child's pose, a more active child's pose. And then slowly lift the chest, come back to all fours. From here, you're going to press down for both palms. You're going to tuck the toes and you're going to lift the legs up, lift the knees up, step the feet back to a high plank position. And now you're going to take the hips up in downward dog. So take a couple breaths here in downward facing dog. Hands remain shoulder distance like we did on all fours. The feet are about hips distance. It may feel better in your low back today to go a little wider. So you could step them a little bit wider, but typically we keep them about hips distance. Definitely have a nice little bend in the knees, especially if your hamstrings or low back feel a little tight here. You want to try to lift the hips up, sit bones up towards the sky, and at the same time begin to drop the chest down towards the ground. The gaze is back at the tips of the toes, so we keep the neck in a nice neutral position. Sometimes we change that, but most often this is the correct alignment for downward dog, where we create this upside down V shape with the body. All right, from here, we are going to step the feet just a little bit wider than hips distance, all right? Not as wide as your mat, but just go a little bit wider than hips distance. Press down a little more through the right hand. You're going to start to turn the upper body to your right, looking under the right arm. You're going to take the left hand, cross it under the body, and then hold on to some part of that right leg, ideally the outer ankle. If that's a little too far to reach, bring the hand up, say outer shin. You could even go outer knee or outer thigh. Keep the hips, however, facing the front of the mat. So you only want this twist to evolve from the upper body. Take one more breath here. And then you're going to come back to downward dog. From here, you're going to roll to high plank. So the toes are tucked here. One at a time, you're going to flip onto the tops of the feet, and you're going to bend the elbows. You're going to open the heart into what we call upward facing dog. So the lower body is hovering here, the knees, the thighs, the pubic bone. The only points of contact on the mat right now are the two hands and the tops of the feet. You're opening the heart. It's a little back bend, a heart opener, but you're also working here on that upper body strength. All right, from here, we tuck the toes and take the hips back up to downward facing dog. And let's try side two. So take those feet again, a little bit wider than hips distance, not too wide, just gives us a little more space for that twist that's going to happen. Turn first to your left. So you're just kind of looking under the left arm. The hips aren't going anywhere. You're going to press down a little more firmly through the left hand, and then you're going to take the right hand under and attach it some part of the left leg. Again, don't be obsessed, or don't worry if you can't get the ankle. Go a little higher up. All right, it's not so much about that. It's just about getting that twist and that opening. Take another breath here, breathing in and out through the nose. And then come back to downward dog. And then one more time, you're going to roll to plank. From toes tucked, flip onto the top of the feet. Bend the elbows, open the heart. Strengthen that upper body. Upward facing dog. And then from here, tuck the toes and take the hips back up to downward facing dog. You're going to take the right leg up to the sky into three-leg dog pose. So the chest and belly and hips stay facing down. You're not opening the leg up. From here, you're going to roll forward to plank. And as you do, bring the right knee to the nose. Curl in, chin to chest, kind of like cat pose. And then extend that leg back up to the sky. Again, slowly roll forward. Aim the knee towards the forehead. Curl in. And then slowly lift the leg back up. One more time, roll forward. Starting to really work the core here a little bit too, as well as that upper body, the arms and shoulders. And then take the right leg back to the sky. Lower it down, downward dog. Left side. Float the left leg to the sky into that three-leg dog pose. And then we roll forward. Knee to nose, chin to chest, belly back to the spine. With your inhale, elevate the leg. Exhale, round two, roll forward to plank, knee to nose as you do. One more time. Take the leg skyward. Roll forward with the exhale, knee to nose. Back to the three-leg dog. Lower the left foot down, downward dog. Take a deep breath in through the nose, fill in. And then open up the mouth and exhale. From here, we're going to bend the knees, look to the top of the mat, and then step, walk forward. Bring the hands to the hips, little bend in the knees, and you're slowly going to start to roll up to stand, into standing pose. Top of the mat, I'm going to turn to the side so you can see better from the visual. On the feet about hips distance, little bend in the knees. You don't want to lock the knees out when you're standing. And we're going to start to circle the shoulders around. Okay, to get a little more warm opening. So lift the shoulders up towards the ears and let them slowly roll down the back. Maybe start to make those circles a little bit bigger. And then change direction. circling forward, kind of hunching, almost bringing the shoulders up all the way to the ears and letting them fall forward. All right, now make sure you have enough space that you're not going to hit the wall or the window. Let's start to take the arms back. So a bigger movement, these big arm circles. Know the elbows can be bent. So getting into the shoulders and arms more, but also more into the chest and the upper back, all part of our upper body. Take those circles now, forward. Big sweeping circles here. All right, last part of this. Now you're going to cross the arms in front of you, kind of letting them swing side to side, back and forth. Change the cross of the arm. Each time you come forward, let's just get a couple more. Warming us up. Maybe the breath is starting to be a little more louder here. One more. All right, let it go. Just kind of shake everything out. Shake the wrist, shake the shoulders. We're going to do 3 rounds of side bends. I'm going to stay facing the side of my mat for now. So first, walk the feet in close. So the mounds of the big toes touch. Take the arms overhead, and you're going to hold on to the left wrist with the right fingers, kind of circle around. And now bend over to your right for our first round of standing side bend. So you want to really bump that left hip out. You really want to ground here through the outer edges, the pinky edges of both feet, so you're stable and secure and grounded here. As you inhale, rise, and then change the grip. Circle the right wrist with left fingers, making like a little bracelet around the wrist, and then bend over to your left as you bump that right hip off to the right. All right, rise up, release the arms down. Now step the feet hips distance. Again, maybe just a little wider like we did in that downward dog. This time you're going to bring the right hand to the right hip and take the left arm back, up and over. All right, so we're stretching here. We're opening up the side body, sides of the waist and the ribs, but we're also stretching out the shoulders and the arms and upper back. So we want to strengthen that upper body, but we also want to stretch it. All right, come up. Left hand, left hip, right arm over the ear. Take this round 2, these standing side bends. We'll do one more for now in a moment. And then rise. And now you're going to take the feet really wide, okay? Like wider than the width of your mat would be. You're going to reach the arms overhead and interlace the fingers and reach the palms up to the sky. Try to bring the arms back in line with the ears if you can. And now bend back over to the right one time. One more time in the side bend. Inhale, lift tall, and then exhale. Take that deep, wide leg side bend over to the left. Rise up, release the arms down. Step the feet in. If you turn to the side of your mat like I did, come back now to the top of your mat. As you inhale, reach the arms all the way overhead. Join the palms, gaze up towards the thumbs. And then exhale, take a big swan dive down to the ground. Have a little bend in the knees. You're going to spin the hands behind the back. You're going to interlace the fingers again. You're going to gaze forward towards the top of your mat to open the heart. And then exhale, you're going to fold over the shins into a standing forward fold, adding this shoulder opener. All right, so a couple things here. The knees can be super bent, especially if it feels tight in the hamstrings, but you can straighten them without locking the knees, of course. The elbows can be bent a little or a lot as you start to reach those interlaced hands up, but if it's okay, maybe a little at a time, start to straighten the elbows, again, without locking those elbows. Stay here one more breath. All right, from here, stay in the forward fold. Just release the hands down to the mat. You can tent onto the fingers. You could have the hands on a block here. Maybe just sway the hips a little side to side. One more breath. All right, from here, lower the hands down. Step all the way back to downward facing dog. Take the hips up to the sky. All right, you're going to keep the hands about shoulder distance. You're not going to change anything else with the lower body or the upper body. Everything's going to stay in down dog. And all we're going to do, we'll do 4 of these. You're going to start to bend the elbows out to the side. And then slowly straighten. And again, kind of be slow here. Bend the elbows out. So like the little pointy part of the elbows really poking out to the side here. You're really getting into that upper back. And then begin to straighten without locking. We have 2 more. Bend the elbows out. Be slow. Be patient. No rush. Take it back to down dog. And then just one more time, we're going to bend those elbows out sharply to the side. Almost like you poke somebody in the eye with the elbow if they were there. And then straighten. Come back to downward facing dog. All right, let's take the right leg to the sky again to 3-leg dog. This time you're going to take a big step forward with that right foot. You're going to drop onto the left knee and walk the hands in and lift the spine and find a low lunge pose. Low lunge pose. So the knee, right knee is right over the ankle. The spine is really tall here. Now you're going to bring the arms to the sky. Start here, reach tall, lengthen through the sides of waist and ribs again, reach all 10 fingers skyward. Now we're going to bend the elbows and take hold of opposite elbows. And you're going to lift up tall. So you're using all that upper body strength, back strength, and a little core strength here as well. If it's really tight in your shoulders, you can let that bottom forearm rest lightly on the crown of the head. But if you can, try to lift just a little bit higher. One more breath. All right, you're going to release the elbows. You're going to bring the hands down to the mat. Tuck the left toes. Elevate the left knee. Step the right foot to plank. And now you're going to lower all the way down to your mat. So you can drop to the knees or come down through top with a push-up. Make sure you have enough space above the top of your mat here. The legs are long. Walk the inner knees to touch. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Sweep the arms long by the ears. Now, for this first round, because we'll do this again after the second side low lunge. For this first one, because I really want you to get the movement and get the benefit of the upper body strength. Let's keep the legs down. So we're coming into a variation of locust pose. All right, and usually the legs lift, and we'll do that on side 2. But for this round, keep the legs down, top of the feet, kneecaps press into the mat. You're going to lift the head and shoulders, float the arms up, and now you're going to bend the elbows to the side and kind of squeeze the shoulder blades together. Keep the head and shoulders lifted. Reach the arms again long by the ears. Bend the elbows, what we call cactus arms. Squeeze. 2 more. Reach the arms long. Try to lift them up past the ears. And then squeeze in. Bend the elbows. Hug the outer ribs in. 1 more time. Reach the arms along. Exhale. Bend the elbows. Hug in. You're going to lower the forehead down. Hands down. Tuck the toes. Bring yourself back up to all fours. Lift to high plank. Take the hips up and find downward facing dog again. And then we'll take side 2. Take the left leg to the sky into 3-leg dog. Exhale, take a big step forward. Drop onto the right knee. Walk the hands in and find your way to low lunge. So start with both hands on that left thigh so you can give yourself a moment to get the alignment. So spine is tall, lifting up from the low back, not sinking in, collapsing. And make sure that left knee is right over the ankle. Now you take the arms up to the sky by the ears. Now we bend the elbows and take the opposite clasp. So if it feels like you were just here a few moments ago on the other side, then just switch the grip. Again, try to lift. Find length as you do through the low back, sides of the waist, and the rib cage expanding. Take another breath here in this low lunge, holding the opposite elbows. And then release the clasp of the elbows. Hands down, tuck the right toes, float the right knee up. Take the left leg back to high plank. And again, we're going to lower all the way down to the mat. All right, now again, set up same way. Legs long, tops of feet press in the mat. Start with the knees together. Bring the arms back overhead by the ears. All right, now we're going to add the legs in. But if you find as we go through that it's too much, you can absolutely lower the legs back down. First, we lift the head and shoulders and float the arms by the ears. And if you're trying, start to float the legs up as well. So at least the tops of the feet, ankles, maybe lower shins lift. Now, same thing. Bend the elbows, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then stretch them back long. And again, bend in, hug in, squeeze outer ribs. Reach the arms long by the ears. 2 more. Bend in, curl and squeeze, and then stretch long. And then last time, bend the elbows, reach the arms long, Lower everything down, hands down, tuck the toes, push yourself up to high plank. Take the hips up, walk the feet in, back to downward facing dog. Take a breath in and a deep breath out. And one more like that. Breathe fully in through the nose. Exhale fully through the nose. All right, we take the right leg back to three-leg dog. This time as you step it through, you're going to rise up into a high lunge pose. So the toes of that left foot are tucked. The heel is lifted. Right knee is still bending over the right ankle, but the back leg is strong. Spine is tall. From here, you're going to bend the elbows, kind of like we did in that locust pose, into what we call cactus arms. So you really should feel a broadening across the chest, engagement of the upper back muscles. Stay for one more breath. And now you're going to lean forward. Bring the hands to the mat. Step to plank. Drop to the knees. Slide the legs through, but this time we're going to stay upright and come into Sphinx pose. So you're on elbows, forearms, pressing the palms and forearms into the mat. Legs are long. And once again here, lifting up through that low back, not collapsing. So you shouldn't be rounding the spine here, none of that. Chest should be open. You should be trying to pull the elbows back towards the body to open up that heart space, broaden across the chest and upper back. Take another breath here in Sphinx. And then drop the forehead down. Step the hands in by the ribs. Tuck the toes. Lift a high plank. Hips rise. Downward facing dog. Let's take side two. Take the left leg to the sky into three-leg dog. Exhale, big step through. Rise up. Find that high lunge pose. So again, back toes tucked, back heel lift. That right leg is super strong to support you here. And then keep the spine tall. Just simply bend the elbows. And find again that cactus arm position. Opening up, creating space across the chest and upper back. One more breath. Lean all the way forward. Hands down. Again, step to plank. Drop to the knees. Slide the legs along and come right away into Sphinx pose. On the elbows, forearms, hands are still about shoulder distance. Pressing down through the palms and forearms. Trying to isometrically pull those elbows back towards the chest. The chin here is in a neutral position. So it's not tucking in towards the chest. It's not leaning out in front of you. It's neutral in between the two. One more breath here in Sphinx. Drop the forehead down. Step the hands in by the ribs once again. Tuck the toes. Push to plank. Hips lift to downward facing dog. All right, from here, let's take the right leg to the sky into three-leg dog. This time you're going to step it through to what we call runner's lunge. So the hands stay down. Again, you could be on the fingers. Hands are on either side of the right foot. You could use blocks under both hands. Back toes tucked. Back leg, that left leg, so strong here. Now you're going to keep the left hand on the mat or block. You're going to take the right arm to the sky into an easy twist. What you want to watch here is the position of that right hip. It likes to sway out to the right. Dial it back into the center. Open up a little more. Maybe look up at that right hand. Open up that shoulder. And then come all the way forward, hands down. Step right away to plank. Take the hips back up to downward facing dog. Take the left leg up. Exhale, step it through. Find that runner's lunge. So again, get steady here. Hands frame the front foot. You could use blocks. Power up a little more through that straight right leg. Push a little more into the ball of the foot to really engage that whole leg. Keep the right hand, on the mat or block. Spin open, twist open to the left arm to the sky. If the neck is okay, maybe look up at that top hand and watch again that left hip. One more breath. Come all the way back. Step to plank. Hips rise. Downward facing dog. All right, we're going to do a little variation of what we did earlier when we were bending the elbows out to the side, except this round, instead of hand-shoulder distance, you're going to walk the hands in close until the thumbs touch, and you're going to kind of fan the rest of the fingers out to the side. All right, so pause here a moment before we go deeper with the elbow bends. Just having the hands in this close, having the thumbs touch. You could probably kind of hug the outer head, the ears, with those inner arms, with those upper arms. All right, keep looking back at the toes. And now same thing we did before, you're going to bend the elbows out to the side. With the hands in narrower, you're probably going to feel this in a slightly different position than you did before. Again, straighten the arms without locking the elbows. Let's do 3 more. Bend out to the side again. You really want to emphasize sticking those pointy part of the elbows out. And then straighten and kind of hug the outer ears with the upper arms. And then 2 more. Bend out. Bend, bend, bend. Exhale, straighten. And just 1 more of those. Bend out, straighten. Step the hands back to shoulder distance and spin the fingers forward. Stay here 1 more breath. And now from here, you're going to roll forward. You're going to drop onto the knees. You're going to walk the hands in. Lift up onto the shins. And on the shins, you're going to turn and face the center of your mat. So be kind of right in the middle of your mat on the shins. Spine tall. Let's start with the left side. So step the left foot out to the side. So it's right out from the hip. The leg is long and you're grounding really firmly through that whole left foot, especially the outer edge. Take the arms back out to a T. Remember that. And then reach along through the right hand and drop the right hand to the mat or block outside the right outer shin. So this is a modified side plank pose. Okay, you're going to kind of look up towards that left arm. And now you're going to start to bend the elbow in. And then slowly straighten the arm back up. So this is kind of retracting, protracting. So let's do this. Bring the arm a little more at an angle. Okay, not straight up to the sky, a little bit more at an angle. Okay, it'll be a little easier to do this. Let's do that 3 more times. Kind of bend the elbow and then slowly straighten. So we're working on retracting, protracting, protracting, retracting. Bend in and then exhale, straighten. And we're just going to do that 1 more time on the side. Kind of bend it in, squeeze. You feel that left shoulder blade squeezing in, and then straighten. Now, you're going to take that left arm straight over the ear at a diagonal. And we're going to take 3 breaths here in this modified side plank. Kind of nice side body openings. You can keep that left foot grounded. You want a little more, you can kind of float the foot up, keep the foot flex, let it hover. Take 1 more breath. All right, if you lifted the foot, ground it. You're going to come all the way back onto both shins. And then take the other side. So first start stepping the right foot to the side. So we want to get a good firm base here. Arms to a T. Bend to your left. Get that modified side plank first, really grounding through that right foot. And then again, you're going to kind of bring the arm at a little more of an angle, so towards the corner of your mat. And then you're going to bend in. And remember, this is we're going to do this standing in a little while in a different position, and then straighten. And we have 3 more. Be slow here again, slow. Really slow. When you do poses, exercises a little more slowly, it can have a deeper effect. You can feel it working a little bit more. And then just 1 more time, bend it in, kind of hug in, straighten. Now you're going to take that right arm right over the ear to diagonal, creating this long line from outer edge of right foot all the way out through the right fingers. Again, you're welcome to keep the foot grounded. If you want, float the foot up, keep it flexed, let it hover. 1 more breath, drop the foot, rise up, come onto both shins, and now turn on the shins to face forward again. Sit to either side of the hips, and you're going to come lay on your back. We're going to do a bit of core strengthening, which we do in almost every class. And in this instance, pause here a moment before we get into it. The core is for the middle of the body. It's not so much upper, it's not so much lower. But if you kind of think visually about cutting the body in half. So the top half would be waist up, bottom half would be waist down. The abdominals are kind of in between there. So you have your upper abs, excuse me, you have your obliques, and then you get into the lower abs, etc. So abs are part of the upper body, upper and lower body, more mid-body, but they do certainly play a role. All right, we're going to take the legs up to the sky and tabletop abs. You're going to cross the right knee over the left. You can stay with a single cross. Some of you maybe want to curl the right toes around the left ankle, take a double bind. And then lower the foot down when you have your legs crossed. And I will do the opposite with the arms. So take the arms up, they'll be crossed right knee over left. Now we're going to cross right arm over left, wrap the arms up, have the palms touch. And then when you have that wrap, lower the arms down so the fingers the top of the mat above the crown of the head. And now you're going to lift everything up. You're going to bring the elbows up and try to tap them to the knees or thighs, and then exhale over down. We're going to keep going. So this pose that we're doing is called eagle pose. Normally it's done standing, but for now we're adapting it to our core work with the legs wrapped and the arms wrapped. So you get core work, you get a hip opener, and you get a nice shoulder opener. We have two more on this side, then we change. And then one more I'm going to ask you to hold. I'm going to ask you to curl in a little closer. See if you can lift both shoulders up another ½ inch. Hold for another moment. And then let everything go. Unwind the arms. Unwind the legs. We'll pause in between. So you're going to walk the feet as wide as the mat. Let the knees tent up. You're going to ground the shoulder blades. If you can, bend the elbows back to that cactus shape we've been doing. And just for a couple breaths, just let the knees wobble side to side. Keep the spine grounded, right? So keep pressing the shoulder blades into the mat and just let the knees and the hips drift a little side to side in this windshield wiper movement. One more breath. All right, let's take side two. So first we start with the legs. Bend the knees, come into this kind of 90-degree tabletop position. Take left knee over right, single or double wrap, you choose. And then lower the legs down once you have the legs wrapped up the way you like. Take the arms up to the sky and now right arm over, left arm under, palms touch. Again, fingers tap the mat above the top of the head, and then we lift everything up and release it down. And we keep going here with these eagle crunches. Keep squeezing the inner knees and our thighs together. Keep squeezing the arms together. Just two more. And then the final one, and we're going to hold. Maybe again, if it's there, lift up a little higher, squeeze in a little closer. And then again, let it go. Unwind everything. Let's repeat that little windshield wiper release. Walk the feet wide, knees point up, ground the shoulder blades. Keep the upper back grounded. Just let the knees drift side to side. Or one more breath. All right, now hug the knees in, wrap the arms around the shins. Rock a little again, right, left, side to side. From here, you're going to cross one ankle over the other. You're going to rock yourself all the way up. Step back. Come back to all fours. Let's take, see, we are coming back to that cat-cow. It wasn't the last time we did it. Let's take just 3 rounds here to kind of reset the spine after that core. Rounding again. And then exhale, open up. And take 2 more times, tuck in. Exhale, broaden. One more round of cat. One more time for cow. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, back up. Find downward facing dog once again. So if you recall, a couple poses ago, we were in that modified side plank. And we were doing that kind of protraction, retraction of the shoulders. So we're going to do a similar, not exactly the same, but very close to that on the next pose, but it'll be from a standing pose. So we're going to take the right leg back to 3-leg dog. And then exhale, you're going to step it through. You're going to ground the back foot, and you're going to lift all the way up into warrior 2 pose. So let's take a moment here to set this up properly. Again, the right knee, like with that low lunge and high lunge, right over the ankle. The back leg is straight, and you're kind of slightly turning the left toes in, just slightly, little pigeon toe. Really grounding through that whole foot, especially the outer edge, to activate the leg. Last part, lift the spine tall, arms again to a T at about shoulder height. Now, this time you're going to bend both elbows in, and you're kind of squeeze them in. This time, maybe elbows actually tap the ribs, the outside of the rib cage, and you squeeze the shoulder blades. And then you slowly straighten the arms back out. Let's do that 3 more times. Bend, squeeze in, and then exhale, straighten. So again, it's that sort of protraction, retraction. Bend in, hug in, Exhale, straighten the arms. And then one more time, bend in. Straighten. Now we're going to stay in warrior two, except a little different. For now, you're going to make fists with the hands. So curl in and make fists. Now you're going to bend the elbows and you're going to tap those fists to the shoulders. Keep the hands in fists, but you're going to straighten the arms back to warrior two. Look out over the right hand. And again, bend in, tap, and then exhale, straighten. Two more. Bend in, tap. Exhale, release back out. One more time. Curl in, tap the fists to the shoulders. Straighten the arms, release the fists, stretch the fingers long. And then circle the hands down to the mat. Step back to plank. Take the hips right up to downward facing dog. Take a big breath in. And then open the mouth, let it go. And we're going to do that all over again on the left side. So first take the left leg to the sky into three-leg dog. Exhale, big step through. Round the back foot. Rise up, find your warrior two. So again, we'll take a couple breaths, 2 or 3 breaths to settle in here. Tall spine, lifting up through that low back. Left knee tracking over the left ankle. Right leg is working just as hard as the left. All right, now, first we start bending the elbows in, squeezing shoulder blades together. Maybe the elbows tap the ribs or the hips, and then slowly reach them out long. Gaze out over the left fingers. Keep going, bend in, squeeze, exhale, release. 2 more times, slow and controlled and very deliberate here, bend. Exhale, straighten. 1 more like this, bend in. Exhale, reach long. Now stay in warrior two, but again, clench the fists. Make those fists slowly curl in. Tap. And then exhale, reach long, but keep the fist curled in. Again, keep going. Tap fist to shoulders. Exhale, keep the fingers curled in, straighten back to warrior two. 2 more times. Curl in. Exhale, straighten. So using, again, just the body weight as resistance. No other weights. Curl in. Last time, stretch long. Release. Stretch the fingers long. And then from here, circle the hands back to the mat. Steps back. Take the hips up. And find your downward facing dog. Take just another breath here. And then from here, put a little bend in the knees, look to the top of the mat, and then walk yourself forward. Pop the hands to the hips, and slowly bring yourself all the way up to stand. From here, lead with the left leg, take a big step out again to face the side of the mat. You're going to walk the feet as wide as you can go. Maybe have a block nearby, that's helpful. So you want the toes slightly turned in this time. Very slight little, what we call pigeon toe, a little bit. Bring the hands to the low back. Start to lift the chest up towards the sky. So you want to gaze up towards your ceiling, and as you do, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Keep really slow. Begin to fold forward. And pause about halfway down. So you want the spine, the torso parallel now to the ground, gazing down kind of between the feet. Slowly begin to lower the hands down. Here's where your block can come in handy, or two. And then, if you can either keep the hands right under the shoulders, or you can start to walk the hands wide and kind of turn the fingers out. So the toes are slightly turned in. With the fingers, we're kind of turning them out. Gaze forward first. Look out in front of you to open the chest. And then as you exhale, fold right down the middle into this wide leg forward fold. So if the hands are wide, you're getting, again, that nice opening, upper back, shoulders. If that's too much, you can keep the hands right under the chest. Use a block. Being careful here, we're here for 2 or 3 more breaths. Keep the knees gently bent, so you don't want to lock the knees out. You don't want to strain the backs of the knees or the hamstrings or the low back. Take 1 more breath, and then bring the hands back under the chest if you walked wide, and then start to walk the feet in one at a time or both together. Kind of wiggle them, step them in till they're about hips distance, and then slowly rise up to stand. And then from here, facing the side of the mat, return back to face the front of the mat. Once again, take the arms overhead, let the palms join, and then exhale, take a big swan dive down to the mat. You're going to step to plank, And then from here, you're going to come onto elbows, forearms, and come into a forearm plank. All right, so maybe walk the feet in a little more. Press into the balls of the feet. Lift up firmly through the shins, the kneecaps, the quads, and really engage that core, that belly. All right, from here, you're going to step the left palm and forearm center of the mat. You're going to roll onto the outer edge of the left foot and come into a forearm side plank. Maybe take that right arm to the ear. All right, if it's too much, you're feeling wobbly, to stack the feet like I'm doing, you can stagger the feet, step the right foot in front of you, a little more balance, or you can even bend that right knee and bring the foot all the way to the mat. Try to lift that left hip up a little more. One more breath, come all the way back to your forearm plank. Reset, take a moment. And then side two, step the right forearm center of mat, roll outer edge of right foot, take that left arm to the sky, and find that modified or find that forearm side plank. You can modify, stagger. One more breath, back forward, drop back onto the knees, return briefly to our Sphinx pose that we did earlier. Lift up through the low back, broad, and maybe feel so much more space now in the upper chest, upper back, shoulders. One more breath. All right, from here, come on to all fours, hands and knees. And now from here, you're going to come and find a seat. Come and find a seat. And we're going to work a little bit more on the triceps. Haven't done a lot there on specific parts of the arms. It's been a lot of shoulders, upper back, chest, overall arm strength. Now we're going to use this next pose to get right into those triceps. So you're going to bend the knees, feet on the mat, feet are about hips distance. You're going to bring the hands back by the outer hips. And we're going to come into a pose we call reverse tabletop, but then come into tricep dips. So you're going to lift up first. First the hips lift. Keep gazing out in front of you. Okay, lift the hips up a little higher. So once again, the only parts of the body on the mat right now are the 2 feet and the 2 hands. Now, you're going to start to sink the hips down to hover, and as you're going to bend the elbows. Remember that pokey part of the elbow, that bony part? You want to really point it out now again. And then slowly lift the hips, and as you do, straighten the arms. Keep gazing out in front of you. We're going to do 4 more of those. So as you start to sink the hips down, let them hover. They don't want to touch. But as you do, you bend the elbows out. And that's what really gets into those triceps. Slowly lift back up into reverse tabletop. 3 more. Begin to sink down. Little at a time. Bend the elbows. You want that really bony part of the elbows really protruding out here. And then lift back up. How about 2 more? You can quit if you need. Take a break. But otherwise, stay 2 more. 2 more of these tricep dips. See how much they're working without using a single weight. Lift up, and then 1 more time. Bend, hover, and then lower all the way down. All the way down, and you're going to straighten the legs out in front of you. Okay, legs are long. Start with the hands by the outer hips. So we'll start there first, and then we won't use any strength of the hands. But let's get this pose first. This is Dandasana, staff pose, and it's like mountain pose, which we didn't actually do today, not technically, but you want to have a lot of engagement in the legs here. So really flex the feet as though you were standing on them, and really engage the legs as though your legs and feet were supporting you standing up tall. Again, you want a lot of length in the spine. Lift up through the low back. You don't want to be slouching here, no rounding, no collapsing. Now, you're going to start to reach the arms long by the ears and sit up tall. So you're not using the hands to help you here. It's a lot of upper body strength, arm strength, shoulder strength, core strength as well. Stretch all 10 fingers to the sky. Maybe kind of reach the arms up, alternate, really work on getting that length. 1 more breath, or I gaze up towards the sky. And slowly now, slowly begin to fold. And I want you to pause halfway. Try to lift those arms up a little closer by the ears. Gaze at your toes. And then slowly, again, be really slow here. Start to come a little deeper and a little deeper into that forward fold. Drop the hands to the mat. Maybe you can hold on to the ankles or outer edges of the feet. Try to keep the chest open as you ease a little deeper into this forward fold. All right, if you can keep the chest really open without rounding, You can start to drop in a little deeper, try to bring the forehead down in the direction of the shins. But be patient in this pose. If your hamstrings are tight, if your low back is tight, this is going to be a challenging pose for you. So you want to ease into it a little. Sitting on a folded blanket, giving yourself a little more height can be very helpful. Bending the knees and elevating the backs of the knees up off the mat can also give you relief, make this pose easier. So do all of those things and more in this pose as you work into it. Take one more breath and then slowly walk yourself up. And you're going to find your way back to a seat. So you can keep the legs long here, or you can bend the knees into a cross-leg position where we start class. So I'm not going to be here a long time, but again, if you want to sit on a folded blanket or cushion, you could do that. So just another little exercise, kind of a press, kind of like a pull down, a lat pull down, and a fly, if you know those two exercises from the gym. But again, it's not using machines. It's not using weights. It's just your own body strength as resistance. And I know a lot of people don't like to use weights. There's sort of a not a negative thing, but it's like, oh, well, using weights, I'm working out, and yoga is not a workout. No, technically it's not. It's exercise, it's physical movement. But you don't have to use weights, okay? Especially if you're working with shoulder injuries. Sometimes adding weights isn't always a good idea, but you could always do that for this. Start with a really lightweight, use a can of soup, which I've done a couple of times when I'm rehabbing from shoulder injuries. You know, the therapist, the doctor said, don't lift anything heavier than a can of soup. That's one thing you could do, or a water bottle, something like that. All right, let's start reaching the arms up to the sky by the ears. And like we did earlier, make fists. So you're going to make fists, and then you're going to start to bend the elbows down, kind of like you would do in a lat pull down if you've ever done that at the gym. And then you're going to press the palms and forearms together like you would with a fly machine. Come back out, reach the arms back up by the ears, make fists. So slowly, again, slow and control, come to that little lat pull down. Feel the shoulder blades contract. And then press the palms and forearms together into that fly. Open back out. Stretch the arms back up. Let's do 3 more rounds. Make fists. Be slow. Pull down, find that lat pull down. And then join the palms and forearms in front of the chest. Open back out. Reach the arms back up by the ears. 2 more. Make the fists. Slow, like you're pulling that lat bar down. And then come into that fly. Open out. Last round, arms reach long by the ears. Make the fists. Find that imaginary lat bar pull down. Last time, join palms and forearms. Open back up. Release the arms by the sides. Let's give again those shoulders a little, kind of alternate. Maybe this time one shoulder at a time. Come forward. And then come back off your seat. You're sitting on something, again, move it to the side. And come back onto all fours. And we're going to take a really nice shoulder stretch, chest opener, upper back opener. This is called thread the needle. So you start again in all fours. Keep the right hand on the mat to start. Take the left arm to the sky. So you kind of turn like we did in that runner's lunge easy twist. Same thing. Keep watching the left hand out. Now you're going to reach it all the way under the right arm. You're going to lower onto that left outer shoulder side of the head. The hips are going to stay high. All right, so you're opening left side of the ribs a little more, gazing up towards the ceiling. You can keep the right hand where it is, elbow bent in line with the head. You can start, if you want, to straighten that right arm. Maybe come onto the fingertips or the palm. Stretch it long by the ear. One other option you can do here with that right arm is you can sweep it behind the back, and maybe the fingers find the left thigh or the waist, and this is what we call a half bound position. Either way, all good choices. Pick the one that feels better in your body right now. Then take 3 more breaths here. Keep the hips lifting high so you're not sinking back into that child's pose we did earlier. We're here for 1 more round of breath. And now slowly unwind, so bring that right hand back to the mat in line with the head. Press down, Keep the chin tucked, start to peel open, unwind, lift the left arm back to the sky into that twist, and then slowly come back down to all fours, hands and knees. Take the right arm to the sky now, so turn, look at the right hand. Keep your gaze fixed on the hand. Slowly begin to thread it under. This is the thread the needle portion. You're going to lower onto that right outer shoulder, side of the head, so the right arm is extending out, kind of in line with the chest, hips to the sky. Same options with that left hand. Just keep it right there, elbow bent. You can take it long by the ear, get a nice opening in that shoulder, upper back, or you can sweep it behind you, take the half bind. Either way, 4 more breaths here. With each breath, try to open the right side of the ribs a little bit more to the sky. Breathing deeply here. So lots of good things here. Shoulder stretch, chest, heart opener, upper back opener as well. One more moment. All right, come back out, left hand down. Slowly unwind, reach the right arm to the sky, and then come back to tabletop. And from here, you're going to come lay on your back. So we're going to finish the last 2 poses of this practice, reclining. So first thing we're going to do, if you brought a block, or you don't have to use a block here, we're going to come into a bridge pose and add just a little more of a shoulder opener, chest opener here. So we start out feet hips distance, scooting close enough. You can tap the backs of your heels with your fingers. Press down through the feet, press down through the palms and forearms, and start to lift the hips up into a bridge. So you won't want to let the knees open out to the side. Keep the knees facing forward again, kind of with those lunge positions, knees right over ankles. You can get a block under the low back for support, lower, medium height, whatever feels better to you. You don't have to go real high here to get a good effective bridge pose. Now, if you want a little more of the shoulders, you kind of roll one shoulder under you a little bit, and then you interlace the hands under the low back, and you could even do this with a block. If you have a block under you, you could do that. So this kind of, again, kind of squeezes those shoulders together, kind of pops the chest open a little more. And once again, I talk a lot in classes about keeping the chin protected, keeping the chin and the neck in a neutral position. So here in bridge, again, you don't want to tuck the chin to the chest like I'm doing, exaggerating. It kind of closes off your voice. And at the same time, you don't want to like arch and lift the chin to the ceiling. That kind of crimps your neck. You want to have it kind of in that plumb line, kind of right in between those 2 spaces. That helps keep the neck healthy and keeps it where it's supposed to be in these poses. Stay here another breath in bridge. And then if you interlace the fingers, release them. Lift the hips up. If you used a block, take the block away and slowly begin to lower all the way back down to the mat. All right, from here, slide the legs to straight. Keep both arms by the side for now. All right, you're going to keep the left leg long. Don't use the hands. You're going to start to bend the right knee and bring it into the chest. Usually we hug the knee in. Right now, just hug it in by yourself. Keep the right arm long by the hips, and then you're going to take the left arm long by the ear. So opposite arm and leg again. Did a variation of that earlier. So again, we don't realize sometimes in our life, in our exercise, in our yoga practice, how much we rely on the arms until we can't use them. One more breath. All right, release everything down. Slide the right leg to straight. Both arms return to the outer hips. And now again, without using the arms, begin to bend the left knee into the chest. And then sweep the right arm long by the ear. Opposite arm and leg. Hugging that left knee in without using the arm. One more breath. Slowly return everything to the start. Now step the feet in back to that kind of bridge prep. We're not coming back to bridge. This time you're going to bring the soles of the feet to touch and open the knees wide into reclined butterfly. So see if you can scoot the butt in closer. So once again, you can tap the heels. You're going to bring both arms overhead this time by the ears. Join the palms, press the palms together. Lift the head and shoulders. Lift up, begin to reach the fingers forward, and if you can, start to float the feet up. Maybe fingers tap the heels. Slowly lower the feet down. Head and shoulders return. Arms reach overhead. We're just going to do that 2 more times. So first start with the upper body. Press the palms together. Lift the head and shoulders. Start to reach the palms forward. Aim them between the knees. You can keep the feet down. And otherwise, maybe lift them up. Maybe lift up high enough that the fingers can touch some part of the foot. And then slowly lower the feet down. If you lifted them, slowly lower head and shoulders and bring the arms back overhead to the hands tap the mat. And just one more time. Slow, lift up, lift, lift. Bring yourself up. Maybe the feet lift. Maybe they connect to the hands. All right, lower all the way down. Again, lower the feet down. Bring the arms overhead. Bring the hands to the outer knees. Help the knees to close. And you're going to hug both knees into the chest. And now you can use your arms. Wrap the arms around the knees. Rock a little right and left, side to side. We're going to finish this practice with a twist, with a lower body twist. And we're going to try to add in one more little thing for the shoulders. So first thing you're going to do is bump the hips to the right edge of your mat. You're going to let both knees drift to the left. Maybe the bottom knee comes to the mat. If not, you get a blanket under it. Now, you're going to start to revolve the torso to the right. If you can, bend the elbows and come back once again to those cactus arms. But if you can't ground the shoulder blades, then you're welcome to straighten the arms. You want to keep both shoulder blades grounded. If it's really tight on the shoulders or chest, again, begin to straighten the arms to any degree that feels good. Start to turn left side of the ribs a little more to the right. Watch the neck here. All right, so we always feel in these twists, we got to keep turning the head, looking over the right shoulder. But maybe that's not where we need to be today. Maybe we need to look more up at the ceiling and protect the neck. We have 2 more breaths here. Keep grounding the shoulder blades, whether the elbows are bent or straight or somewhere in between. Another breath on this side. And then slowly come back to center, onto the back. Hug the knees in again. Shift the hips to the left. Allow the knees to fall to the right. Again, if that right knee, bottom knee doesn't come to the mat, maybe get a blanket or even a block under it. Ground the shoulder blades. Again, ideally, if you can, bend the elbows, cactus arm shape. Otherwise, straighten and then slowly begin to spin right side of the ribs to the left. Maybe not taking the head, the neck into the twist this time. Take 3 more breaths here. So twists, really good for unwinding the spine. For this class, also unwinding, especially that upper back, creating more space in the chest, making our breath more efficient. Twists are very calming for the body. 1 more breath. All right, slowly roll up. Hug the knees in again. Give yourself a little hug. Come all the way up to a seat. And that is the end of our practice for now. That was our neck and shoulders class, upper body class rather. A lot of neck and shoulders, but definitely upper body. So hope you enjoyed. Hope it's helpful to you. Again, remember the body works as a unit, this kinetic chain. So if one is too strong, you're relying too much on the lower body, then the lower body is going to wear out faster. So if you can perhaps bring the whole body, it's hard, but if you can have the whole body working together as a unit, it's going to make just everything easier, less injury, perhaps. So see you next time. Thank you for joining me. Take care.